Good morning. Welcome to Bessie and our board meeting for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2025. First item, please. I'm sorry, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Could we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Appel, Dr. Armstrong,
Here.
Mr. Birkin,
Here.
Mr. Castile, not present, Ms. Champagne,
Here.
Dr. Clark, not present, Mr. Harris, Mr. Hollis, Ms. Holloway,
Here.
Ms. Mellorine, Mr. Morris.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. So folks, we'd like to start out with our invocation. Our invocation this morning will be led by Deacon Don Allison. Deacon, if you would step forward and maybe we could all stand in prayer. How about that?
In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for all your wonderful blessings, especially the blessing of being able to gather here today. Help us to always remember that your Son taught us that where two or more are gathered together in his name, he is there among us. We ask that you bless this, the board that's here today. We ask that you bless their staff and the members of the public that are here today to carry out and to communicate with the board, and for the board to deliver the business of the elementary and secondary education system of this state. We ask that you bless the board through their deliberations with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and good judgment and clear thinking. We ask that you bless the staff and everyone else here with good judgment and clear thinking, and we ask that you help everybody here try to discern your will today as they carry out the important business of governing the elementary and secondary education system of this great state of Louisiana. Help them to carry out your will. Help them to understand what that is. We ask all this through your Son, our Lord Jesus Christ, who lives and reigns with you in the unity of the Holy Spirit, God forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Deacon. If I would ask you to remain standing for the pledge. Miss Ash Elizabeth Fontenot from the Louisiana School of the Visually Impaired will lead us in the pledge this morning.
I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, now let's go to that first item, please.
The first item is 2.1, approval of the agenda.
Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Mellorine, Mr. Harris, thank you. Any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, I believe Dr. Armstrong has a motion for us.
Yes, I move that item 5.1, the superintendent's report, be moved to the first agenda item.
Thank you. Senator Appel is going to second. Is there any exception? Hearing none, motion passes.
Item 5.1 is report by the State Superintendent of Education.
Mr. Superintendent?
Thank you, Mr. Morris, and thanks to the board for allowing me to make comments while we have a robust crowd this morning. I think we have a good story to tell in the state of Louisiana, and we'll tell some of that here through these comments. But one of the first matters I wanted to address, Mr. Morris, was a question you asked me about last week, which was evaluations. We have launched a new evaluation system statewide over the course of last year. I think it's really strong in prompting educators in the classroom to understand the indicators that are most important to student learning. That's gone really well over the course of the year, and we'll continue to refine those practices. We're also working with colleges and universities so that they can better prepare future teachers to understand those expectations. So when those teachers come out of the university setting, they'll be ready on day one. There were a couple of groups within the profession that needed a bit of a different rubric. So we've worked with counselors to make sure that we have an alternate rubric there. We're also presently working with a task group of librarians to form an evaluation that makes the most sense for the instructional librarians across the state. And so our goal with that task force is to make sure that that rubric is in place for librarians at the beginning of the school year as well. So I just wanted to level set around that. The next thing that I think is really important is with this board our legislature, our governor's commitment to literacy, we have been able to drive dramatic gains across the last few years. And I think that obviously that's really good news, but I wanted to share specifically this year our results on our literacy screener. So it was the first year where we had this, well, we've been in the last couple of years where we've had this standardized approach to this screening a few times every year. And so this year's results, what we actually were able to note is that students from the beginning of the year to the end of the school year in kindergarten through third grade grew 17 points in proficiency overall. And that's as the test gets more difficult over the course of the year. So we saw a 17-point proficiency jump over the course of the year. We also saw, most notably in kindergarten, those students from beginning of the year grew 33 proficiency points. So they kind of led the entire elementary with growth, which is what you would expect. You would expect your younger kids to show more growth. And as you move to first, second, and third, probably not as much growth, but we did see growth across all of those bands. And what I think is also pretty worthwhile to note is that when we compare the end of the year results last year to the end of the year results this year, we saw a 9-point increase in proficiency. So if you're looking at a kindergartner at the end of last year, or a first grader at the end of last year, or a second grader or third grader at the end of last year, compared to those same grade levels this year, 9 points of proficiency difference. So that speaks volumes to what's happening in classrooms across the state, and that's really, really important. So I wanted to acknowledge that. The next thing is more comprehensive and holistic, which is why I'm really excited that everyone's in the room today, because individuals in the room today are a major reason why I am able to announce and share once again these results. Louisiana is in many ways the story across the country for educational outcomes and the improvements that are being made. And that's a result of individuals in the audience today. If we look at the nation's report card, for instance, in 2019, Louisiana was ranked 49th in the country, and today we're ranked 32nd in the country across all states. And if you look deeper into that data on the nation's report card, you see that for 2 consecutive cycles of the nation's report card, we've led the country in reading growth. This year, we were top 5 for math growth. Students with disabilities in the state of Louisiana are both outgrowing and outperforming in absolute performance their peers across the country. Students from economically disadvantaged, economically challenged homes are both outgrowing and outperforming in absolute performance their peers across the country. So there's a lot of really good information in the nation's report card that reflect positively on the state of Louisiana and the work that you're doing. And then on top of that, about a month ago, U.S. News and World Report came out, and they have moved us up for pre-K-12 education. We've moved from the late 40s over the last few years, and now they have ranked us for pre-K-12 37th in the country. So likewise, you see another group that evaluates education across the country saying Louisiana is moving in the right direction. And in fact, if you look at both the nation's report card and U.S. News and World Report for pre-K-12, there is not a state in the country that is more rapidly improving than the state of Louisiana. So I wanted to acknowledge that because I wanted to acknowledge you all in the room this morning, because you are helping to move that every single day. And as I share, we're pleased with the progress, but not satisfied. We know we still have a lot of work to do. Too many students aren't reading on grade level. Too many students aren't proficient at math. Too many students don't have access to high quality school. And so those are the things for which we all have to continue to work each and every day. And part of that is our commitment to continual improvement, continually getting better. And so we're excited because next week we are hosting our teacher leader event, which is our signature, our premier professional collaboration annually. And so just a show of hands, are there any of you in the room that plan to attend that event next week? Okay, great. So we have over 500 sessions planned for next week. We think that this will be our best event yet. They are specifically tailored to the priorities of Bessie, the priorities of our agency, and we think that will make a a really big difference. We have roughly, 7,000 or so educators coming to join us next week. And so we look forward to you all being there, because the theme of that event is writing a new story for Louisiana education, because I think that's what we are doing and we have to continue to do. So, Mr. President, thank you for allowing me to move these comments up today, because I think it's really important that the individuals in the audience, whether they're students or parents or educators, realize that the news that we are able to consistently share is a result of, in so many ways, of their work. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. And I would just ask everyone in the audience today, if you would go home and share this news with everyone in your family and your friend group. Because it's great news for the state of Louisiana. It's very promising going forward. And as the superintendent said, we attribute this to your hard work. So looking forward to the acknowledgments this morning, but please help us spread the word. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Are there any comments from board members? Mr. Appel.
Thank you. Just to point up what the superintendent was saying, if y'all saw the newspaper this morning, The Advocate, the front page story is a description of the changes that have taken place in my city, New Orleans, since Hurricane Katrina. For those of you who don't know or aren't aware, before Katrina, New Orleans was the worst school system perhaps in the country. It was horrible. And people had just said, well, the kids will never learn. It's impossible. We can't overcome all the problems in New Orleans. It'll never happen. Well, 20 years later, if you read this article, you'll see that there's been a great turnaround, and the school system in New Orleans is not what it was 20 years ago, but it's performing at not a super high level, but a very high level where in comparison to the rest of the state. It's an amazing turnaround story, and Dr. Brumley and the staff of Department of Education should be very proud of being strong participants in that, and the previous Bessie boards, obviously. So if you want to see a current iteration of this great success that we're having, it's right there on the front page of the Advocate this morning. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator Appel, for sharing. Any other comments from members? Mr. Hollis?
Thank you. I just wanted to get some comments from the superintendent, because one of the articles that I read, and it made me particularly prideful because of the peculiar challenges that COVID brought. And I hope that's not even once a generation, not even once a century. It was really challenging for people across the country and across the world. I like seeing these articles, though, that are specific to Louisiana and how, as it pertains to education, we've really set the standard and we are leading the way. And if you would, could you speak a little bit to that? Because when I read that article, it was nice to see, and we weren't top 20 percentile. It was Louisiana setting the way, and with tests that were being done, our students have come back bigger and better than ever for such a very challenging time that I do think is going to have, implications to kids as we go forward in the future. But it was a peculiar aberration in time, and I'm just so pleased that Louisiana's done so well with that.
Yeah, I think there are two main research studies that come to mind relative to Louisiana's work through COVID. The first is the Stanford-Harvard Education Recovery Scorecard. They looked at every state through a pretty comprehensive research study between those two organizations or universities, and they determined that Louisiana was the only state in the country where the average student had recovered from the impacts of the pandemic. So that gained a significant amount of national press just because of the institutions that had conducted that study. The second one that comes to mind is a different organization that took the results of the National Assessment of Educational Progress and they adjusted for demographic. They essentially made every state the same in terms of income levels, and all the various demographics that are represented in the school system. And they said if you adjusted them and put all of them on the same level, and it equalized all of them out across demographics, Louisiana's performance was actually second in the country on the national the NAEP scores. And so that is an overall performance. That's not just growth from a demographically adjusted context. So that too over the last, really that one too, over the last probably 6 weeks has gained a lot of national attention. So those are the two studies, Mr. Hollis, that I think about the most whenever a question similar to yours is asked.
I appreciate that information. I just remember seeing it. It was really complex. It was deep in the weeds, and it's, so out of normalcy that I just thought it was worthy of mention, and I was very excited to see us leading the way. So thank you for that information, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you for the question, Mr. Hollis. Members, any other questions? All right, hearing none. Next item, please.
Next item on the agenda is item 3.1, consideration of the recognition of the Diocesan Students of the Year.
Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Birkin? Dr. Armstrong? Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Morris. So Mr. Fultz and the school system relations team have invited a few friends this morning to come and visit with us. And so Kelly Stomps, Joni Lacey, at this point in time, thank you all for the coordination around this. We will rightfully recognize a number of individuals from across the state after the group is called, and you guys may get into these logistics, but board members will just stay on the dais and we'll kind of move to the center and we'll take group photos at that point. So there we go.
Good morning, Dr. Brumley, members of Bessie, and everyone in the audience today. My name is Joni Lacey, and I serve on the School System Relations team. It's a pleasure to be here this morning on behalf of my colleagues to help recognize more than 100 outstanding education stakeholders today. Before I begin, I'd like to thank my colleagues who are helping today and all colleagues who tirelessly and beautifully led the award programs that we are celebrating today. Today's honorees represent over 10 statewide award programs. They reflect excellence at every level, from students to educators, school leaders, and support staff. Because of the large number of honorees and limited time, we will not be able to announce every individual by name during this ceremony. Do know that every honoree has been recognized more personally at another time. For groups of 10 or fewer honorees, their names will be read, and for larger groups, honorees will be called forward by district while their names will be displayed on the screen. Honorees, please know that each of you is deeply appreciated and valued. Now, let's begin celebrating these incredible individuals who make Louisiana's education system better every day. And starting with the Catholic schools, Catholic schools Students of the Year. On March 10th, the competition to select the overall Catholic Schools Students of the Year took place. Judging consisted of portfolio review, written essays, and interviews. On April 4th, all Student of the Year honorees were recognized, and the overall honorees for grades 5, 8, and 12 were named. And we're happy to have those guys with us here today. Honorees, please come forward as I call your name and remain forward. The 2025 Louisiana Catholic Schools Students of the Year are: in 5th grade, Sawyer Catherine Hartman, St. Mary's Nativity School in the Diocese of Houma and Thibodaux. 8th grade, Breeze Elizabeth Vasquez, St. Anthony Catholic School in the Diocese of Alexandria. And 12th grade, Mary Elizabeth Avenel, St. Scholastica Academy in the Archdiocese of New Orleans. And now for a photo. Congratulations to these outstanding students.
Thank you, Ms. Lacey. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3.2, consideration of the recognition of LDOE Students of the Year.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Harris, Ms. Mellorin, thank you. Ms. Lacey?
Now to celebrate Louisiana Students of the Year. This work is led out of the Office of School System Relations under Assistant Superintendent Trapos. On May 16th, the department honored the 2025 Louisiana Student of the Year finalists, and the overall honorees for grades 5, 8, and 12 were named. Selection was based on academic excellence, leadership, character, and service. Now to introduce the Louisiana Department of Ed and Louisiana Students of the Year, please come forward when your name is called. For grade 5, Mary Mack Thornton of Caddo Parish, and they were not able to be present today, but we still congratulate them. Grade 8, Rylan Renee Viator, Vermilion Parish. Grade 12, Neil Pramod Tandon, Jefferson Parish. Photo. Congratulations to these outstanding students.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3.3, consideration of the recognition of Louisiana Seal for Biliteracy honorees.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Holloway, Mr. Hollis, thank you. Ms. Lacy?
Now to recognize the Louisiana Seal of Biliteracy honorees. This work takes place in the Office of Teaching and Learning by Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jenna Chasson. The Louisiana Seal of Biliteracy Award recognizes bilingualism, supports language education, and prepares students for global opportunities. This year, 1,308 graduating seniors from 67 schools and 38 systems earned the seal. Additionally, 31 high schools were recognized for at least 5% graduating class earning the seal. And now to introduce those honorees. Please note, school systems and school names are displayed on the screen. Honorees, as I call your school system, please come forward and remain for a photo. Ascension Parish, Bossier, Caddo, East Baton Rouge Parish, Jefferson Parish, Lafayette Parish, Richland, St. Charles, Tangipahoa, and West Feliciana Parish. We'd also like to congratulate and call forward the honorees from the state's special schools, independent charters, and non-public school honorees. I'd like to note that one non-public school was inadvertently left off the slide, and that's St. Frederick High School. Congratulations to these honorees. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item on the agenda is 3.4, consideration of the recognition of Louisiana State Certified World Language Immersion Site honorees.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Champagne, Mr. Birkin, thank you. Ms. Lacy?
This work is led out of the Office of Teaching and Learning, led by Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jenna Chasson. Now to recognize the Louisiana State Certified World Language Immersion Site honorees. Since 2012, certification has set statewide standards supporting high-quality language immersion programs. It's a very vigorous, accurate application process that reflects a commitment to excellence. Now to introduce the honorees by school system and school names. From East Baton Rouge Parish, Baton Rouge Foreign Language Academic Immersion Magnet, and Westdale Middle School. From Evangeline Parish, Mamu Elementary School, and from Lafayette Parish, Lafayette High School, and Prairie Elementary School. And from Orleans Parish, we have Audubon Charter, upper and lower school campuses. Congratulations to these outstanding honorees.
You. Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item's item 3.5, consideration of the recognition of the United States Department of Education Green Ribbon Schools.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Champagne, Mr. Birkin? Ms. Lacy?
This work is also led by, under the office of Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jenna Chasson. Now let's recognize the U.S. Department of Education Green Ribbon School nominees. This award celebrates nominees for outstanding achievements in reducing environmental impact, promoting health and wellness, and advancing sustainability education. Honorees, please come forward when I name your parish and school. From East Baton Rouge Parish, Scotlandville Pre-Engineering Magnet Academy, represented by Principal Ms. Jeanette C. Davis and Dr. Kristen Higginbotham, Magnet Site Coordinator. From Westdale Middle School, represented by Principal Ramona J. Rimble and Dr. Laura Lee Edelman, the aquaphonics teacher. At our non-public honoree, Ecole Bilang de la Nouvelle Orléans, represented by Principal Mr. Pierre-Louis Denenshu and STEM teacher Ms. Catherine Lefwick. And I hope that I pronounced those names pretty close to correctly. I tried.
Thank you.
Congratulations to the Louisiana Green Ribbon Schools nominees.
Lady in white. You brought a page, run similar. And it goes around here with the pattern. Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3.6, consideration of recognition of the School Physical Activity Award honorees.
Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Millerin, Mr. Harris? Thank you. Ms. Lacy?
This work is the School Physical Activity Award honorees. This work is led out of the Office of Career and College Readiness under the direction of Assistant Superintendent Dr. Ernest Singleton. Now we'd like to recognize the Outstanding School Support Employee of the Year finalists. This award recognizes schools that have outstanding physical activity programs before, during, and after school. Now to introduce the state finalists. From Bossier Parish, Plantation Park Elementary. From Claiborne Parish, Homer High School. From East Feliciana Parish, East Feliciana STEAM School. From Livingston Parish, South Live Oak Elementary. New Orleans Military and Maritime Academy School District. And from St. Tammany Parish, Bonnie Cole Elementary. Congratulations to the School Physical Activity Award honorees.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Item 3.7, consideration of the recognition of the SPED Fellow Academy honorees.
Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Holloway? Mr. Hollis? Thank you.
Now let's recognize the SPED Fellow Academy honorees. This work is led out of the Office of Teaching and Learning under the direction of Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jenna Chasson. Now we'd like to recognize the 2025 Cohort 5 SPED Fellow Academy honorees, some of the state's most outstanding emerging special education leaders. These honorees have completed an extensive year-long program that includes training, coaching, and collaboration for improving outcomes for students with disabilities. Please note the names of the honorees, along with their mentors and school system names, are displayed on the screen now. We have 3 slides that we will proceed through slowly as we invite all honorees to come forward representing school systems from all across the state, from Ascension Parish to Bossier to Iberia Parish and down to West Baton Rouge Parish. If you guys, anyone present today, y'all come forward. Let's give this outstanding group of honorees and mentors a round of applause.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3.8, consideration of the recognition of the expiring principal fellowship.
Thank you. Could I get a motion, please? Ms. Mellerin, Ms. Holloway? Thank you.
This work is also led out of the Office of Teaching and Learning under the direction of Deputy Superintendent Dr. Jenna Chasson. Now let's celebrate the 2025 Aspiring Principal Fellowship honorees. These honorees have completed a transformational year-long fellowship that was focused on knowledge, school visits, sessions, and coaching. Again, as we invite all aspiring principal fellows forward, we'd like to call your attention to the names and the school names on the screen. Please note that our honorees are displayed on the following 4 slides. If you guys will come forward now. I need some little cheerleaders on the front row. Bend down. Y'all want to come center?
Tell them to step back.
Can y'all step back a little bit, guys? It'll be better for the photo.
There we go.
And then maybe come forward, maybe some to the center, the little cheerleader bend.
There we go.
And we'll be sharing all the photos. I got lost. But you look great. Congratulations to these honorees.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item is item 3.9, consideration of the recognition of School Health Provider of the Year honorees.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Birkin, Ms. Champagne? Ms. Lacy?
This work is led out of the Office of Teaching and Learning under the direction of Deputy Superintendent. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. Let's go to School Health Provider of the Year. This work is led out of the Office of Career and College Readiness under the direction of Assistant Superintendent Dr. Ernest Singleton. And now to recognize the Outstanding School Health Service Provider of the Year finalists who are recognized for their excellence in providing and expanding health services in their schools. Finalists, please come forward as you are announced. From Ascension Parish, Sue Lynn Simpson. From Washita Parish, Melissa Batson. From Plaquemines Parish, Rebecca Bourne Amos. From Richland Parish, Emily Trisler Turner. And from St. Tammany Parish, Carrie Ann Kritsky. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy. Next item, please.
Next item, item 3.10, consideration of the recognition of the Outstanding School Support Employee of the Year.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Hollis, Mr. Harris, Ms. Lacy?
This work is led out of the Office of School System Relations under the direction of Assistant Superintendent Trafels. Now we'd like to recognize the 2025 Outstanding School Support Staff Employee of the Year finalist, who are recognized for their exceptional services to their schools and school systems going above and beyond. Please come forward as I call your name. From Bienville Parish, Rhonda Whitfield. From Calcasieu Parish, Eva Davis. From DeSoto Parish, Betty Carter. From Evangeline Parish, Pauline Toussaint. From Jefferson Parish, Cheryl Donald. From Lafourche Parish, Rodney Bean Tabor. From Washita Parish, Mary Lee Dunn. From St. Landry Parish, Laura Jackson. From St. Mary Parish, Donella Wagner. And from St. Tammany Parish, Mary Ann Ladner. Congratulations to these outstanding. Congratulations to these outstanding finalists. This concludes our celebration of honorees here today. What a truly exciting morning. Again, many of these honorees have already been celebrated at special receptions. Today, some of the honorees will continue to meetings for further gatherings and celebrations. One such celebration includes the School Physical Activity Health Provider and School Support finalist who will be transitioning next to a reception at the Old State Capitol. While there, the overall school health and school support staff honorees will be named, and we'll invite them back to our future Bessie meetings so that you guys can meet them. A special thanks to Dr. Keith Corbell and APEL for sponsoring this reception at the Old State Capitol. On behalf of the department, Bessie, and all of us here from the department, we'd like to say congratulations again to all honorees. We appreciate you and we thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lacy and the team. Next item, please.
Next item, item 3.11, consideration of the recognition of the special school district valedictorian and salutatorian.
Can I get a motion, please? Ms. Champagne, Dr. Armstrong, thank you. Members, I'd like to kick off this next item, just a little bit of background. It's my pleasure as a Bessie member to serve on the board of the special school district, the district that serves the deaf, the hard of hearing, and the visually impaired students in our state. And at a recent board meeting, I was just really blown away. I was totally impressed by the young lady that led the pledge at the meeting. She's the class valedictorian, and her academic accomplishments were just so outstanding. I just felt it's appropriate to share with you. So I invited them to Bessie this morning, and she's accompanied by her teacher and her mom. So if we could, I'd like to ask them to come to the table, and I'd like for mom and teacher to please introduce yourself, and then I'd like to read through some of her academic accomplishments.
Good morning. I'm Ash Elizabeth Fontenot.
I'm Elizabeth Carnegie, her mother. And I'm Susan Covington, the Executive Director of Louisiana School for the Visually Impaired.
Thank you, ladies. So often before our board, we hear about challenges and hurdles and barriers, and we work as a board to make best efforts to hear from our constituents about what those are and how we can help to provide support to overcome those barriers and those challenges. But I just want to share with our board, this is clear demonstration that that those most challenging barriers can be overcome. So as a student at Louisiana School for the Visually Impaired, Ash Elizabeth graduated as a class valedictorian. She graduated with distinguished honors of gold for TOPS graduation pathway with the 3.5 GPA or above, green for her 5 dual enrollment classes, blue for her ACT classes. She was the student of the year. Additionally, she's a member of the National Society of High School Scholars. She earned the President's Award for Educational Excellence, scoring 33. I just need to repeat that. 33 on her ACT. And in the 85 percentile of students who took the ACT with a minimum 3.5 GPA. ACT awards, 33, STEM award, 30 plus, ACT score jumper award, ACT benchmark beater award in all subjects. She earned 15 college credits through the dual enrollment program, earning one of the highest GPAs for English 1010, winning the Southeastern Louisiana's Outstanding Writers Award. She earned an A in dual enrollment English 1010, 1020, dual enrollment U.S. History 2020, dual enrollment Algebra 1021, and a B in dual enrollment Trig 1022. I took that class. She earned a national certification in CPR and first aid. She was president of the student council. She was accepted into the Western New England University's College of Arts and Science Forensic Biology program, earning $40,000 in scholarships. Additionally, she's recipient of the Louisiana School for the Blind and Visually Impaired Alumni Association Scholarship of $500. Thank you again, ladies. Next item, please.
Next item is item 4.1, approval of April 19th, 2025 minutes.
Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Hollis, Mr. Harris? Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Item 6.1, reports from members of Bessie, statutory and legislative task force, council appointees.
Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Hollis? Ms. Holloway? Members, do we have any reports from any committees? Dr. Armstrong?
I do, I want to commend first our Department of Education staff members that work so closely with the non-public council. We've been working with some equitable services. And so there has been a plan so that all the non-public schools can receive these services that they may not have gotten in the past. And so certainly Keith Leger, Lexi Pitchford, Matt Johnson, and Beth CNA. And I appreciate your efforts and hard work in working with the non-public council and so that all these schools can receive those services. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Armstrong. Any other members, any comments to share? Ms. Holloway?
Yes, a reminder that the America 250 Louisiana State Commission meeting is Wednesday, June 18th at 1 o'clock at the Louisiana State Archives building. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Holloway. Any other members with a share this morning? All right, hearing none. I did have one thing to share. Unfortunately, at the School for the Deaf, at the SSD board meeting this last week, we received the resignation of the district superintendent. He'll be returning to family and friends in Tennessee. So that'll put our board in search of a new superintendent. So if you have anyone you think is qualified, be interested in that opportunity, then we'd love to hear from you. But we certainly got a good example of the work that's coming out of there this morning. So hopefully we're going to be able to fill that vacancy soon. Any other comments to share? All right. Hearing none. Next, Dr. Armstrong. He is the superintendent of the special school district.
Oh,
Any other comments or questions? All right. Hearing none. Next item, please.
Next item, item 7.1, Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee, Mr. Appel.
On behalf of the Academic Goals and Instructional Improvement Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 23, noting that motions 19 through 21 are notices of intent.
Can I get a second? Dr. Armstrong. I have a few comments on that one. Before we proceed. We heard some testimony yesterday on item 5.2 that just really struck me very, very strongly, and I believe an appropriate response at this time is in order. So I wanted to first of all thank Dr. Armstrong for bringing the item to our attention. It's an extremely important matter. I know we started working this my first year at Bessie, which would be incredibly 5 years ago. So it's been a work in progress for some time now to take a relook at our accountability system. It deserves appropriate due diligence. So I appreciate the motion that Dr. Armstrong offered. And then yesterday, Dr. Armstrong requested that we submit questions for the 2 committee meetings that are appropriate for that due diligence. And so I just wanted to advise members of the dates for those 2 meetings because this is an extremely important matter. If your schedule allows and you could attend, I'd love to see you there. And then I want to speak to a minute about maybe some things we should consider going into those 2 meetings. So the SAC meeting is scheduled for July 27th. There's actually a SAC meeting scheduled for this week, but obviously we wouldn't have time to prepare for that. So the next SAC meeting is July 27th. And then the next Accountability Council meeting is September 8th. The next thing I want to discuss briefly or share my comments briefly is maybe some thoughts and considerations that we as board members should have going into those 2 meetings. Yesterday, we heard from representative from the from LAS, the Louisiana superintendents, and on behalf of LAS, he stated, if you want to do what's best for kids, do away with the accountability system. He closed his remarks by stating, on behalf of LES, with do away with accountability if you want to do what's best for kids. On behalf of Bessie, I'm calling BS. While we have said, and we will continue to consider adjustments with appropriate due diligence, this board voted unanimously for the current accountability system, which we believe does serve the best interest of students, parents, and all citizens in the state of Louisiana. What career pathway has no accountability? If this board in its wisdom does deem it appropriate to increase the incentive for 8th grade algebra participation, let's do it. But let's carefully consider the means to the end. Let's give credit where credit is due. Give extra credit to middle schools and not deceive parents by inflating and masking the true performance of high schools. Above all, let's not message to students that we expect them to abide by the honor code and take pride in their work, while adults take credit for others' work to improve their self-image. So I ask you to consider going into the meeting, how do you spell integrity in the state of Louisiana? That concludes my comments. Is there anyone else like to comment? Is there any exception to the motion? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 7.2, Board Administration and Education Finance Committee, Mr. Birkin.
On behalf of the Board Administration and Education Finance Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 43.
Can I get a motion, Ms. Champagne? Is there any exception to the motion? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 7.3, Educator Effectiveness Committee. Ms. Mellerin.
On behalf of the Educator Effectiveness Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 24.
Can I get a second? Mr. Harris, thank you. Is there any exception? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item, 7.4, Legislative and Governmental Affairs Committee. Mr. Harris.
On behalf of the Legislative and Government Affairs Committee, I move to approve motion 1.
Can I get a second? Ms. Holloway, is there any exception? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 7.5, School Innovation and Turnaround Committee. Ms. Champagne.
Thank you. On behalf of the School Innovation and Turnaround Committee, I move to approve motions 1 through 10.
Can I get a second, please? Mr. Birkin, thank you. Is there any exception? Hearing none, motion passes. Next item, please.
Next item is item 8.1, consideration of an update report regarding the Bessie Bridging Success Tour.
So members, just the superintendent just reminded me, just a couple of things to share that on the last item, the resolution that we sent over to the JLCB, we did add one comment to that. It's being passed out right now. That additional item references the number of students, the voucher students that would be impacted if the Odyssey contract were not approved by JLCB. It also speaks to the concern that we would have with regard to planning for school systems, transportation, resources, building capacity, and so forth, in addition to the time it would take for parents to actually make those decisions. So those copies are being handed out to you right now. That's right. And we also wanted to include a number of children that whose parents applied for the program, so that we're clear that we've captured the demand for the product. We'll just give you a second to look over that. If there are any questions, Senator Appel.
I would make a motion that we rescind the vote that was taken yesterday on the resolution, and that we now take another position in support of the newly crafted resolution.
All right.
If
Would
that's
you like to
proper-
offer that motion?
Please put that in proper English.
Got it. I'm going to take that motion and look for a second. Mr. Birkin. All right. So that first motion is going to both rescind the previous one and adopt the current one.
Thank you.
All right. Is there any exception to that motion? Hearing none, motion passes. All right, Mr. Walker, if you could refresh us on the current motion on the table.
The current item on the table is item 8.1, consideration of an update report regarding the Bessie Bridging Success Tour.
Thank you, sir. Can I get a motion? Ms. Mellerin, Mr. Harris, Mr. Walker, I believe you have the ball.
Yes, sir. What we had before you is a high level data points that we thought was important. When we embarked on this tour, we have now had about 7 or 8 of these events. We have our last one tentatively scheduled for Caddo Parish that we will seek to have in September. But I think it's very important that you kind of see the work that has been done in collaboration with our office, the Bessie staff, and the LDOE team. And it's just some reference charts for you to look at to see how many school systems we invited, how many registered, and how many participated. So currently, as we stand at 53 school systems have participated in one of these events that was hosted. We did a attendance makeup. We've had about 536 people who have actually showed up for these events. We've invited about 1,044, and it just breaks down each site, how many people we invited, how many registered, and how many attended. And then the last 2 pages go to show you the demographics of all the important spokes in the wheel, all the important partners that is needed at the table to accomplish those goals around CTE and work-based learning opportunities. And so you can see that it is both traditional school systems, charter school systems, various educational partners from higher ed to local community efforts, and a large swath of business and industry representatives, a few hundred that we've invited and have participated in these events. And so when we finish the last tour, we will provide a more robust summary report, but I think it was important to see the numbers of the attendees and the large swath of people we've touched across the state.
Mr. Walker, thank you for sharing that. As everyone knows, I have reached out to members and asked you to task a formal summary report for the governor, working with Dr. Kingham and the governor's appointees on that. So as soon as we get the Caddo Parish visit scheduled and completed, look for the appointees to reach out to each individual Bessie member for input on their particular Bessie stop and anything they would like to point out relative to their specific Bessie district with regard to response. And again, get that summary in place, working with Dr. Kingham to Governor Landry. Senator Rappel.
Yeah, the one thing that jumped out to me, at least at the very first meeting, which I attended, or tour, which I attended, was a lack of participation by local school board people, members. There were probably 4 or 5 school boards within that area, and I think we had 1 attendee. It's my belief that school boards have an extraordinarily strong relationship with the business community in their regions. And so if it's possible, I don't know if we have that data, but know how many school board members attended these events and how we could enhance their attendance in the future. And I think more than anything else, the school boards can talk to business people and tell them the importance of the apprenticeships and the internships and so forth that we're pursuing. And again, I was very disappointed in the first meeting. Could have been because it was the first meeting and we just didn't have it organized properly. But I would like to know going forward where we are.
Yes, sir. That's an important data point. I do believe that we've gotten better over time, and I can't take credit for it. The staff over there, particularly Jada Joseph, has taken over this responsibility, and it has grown both in size and scope over the time period. Lafayette really hit it out the park, and we've been, humming at 100% ever since then. So yes, and we will look for that data point. I'm not sure if we can track particular school board members, but we can definitely look at that data point.
Thank you for that feedback, Senator Pell. Mr. Birkin?
So now that I guess this is completed or nearly completed, I don't,
Can't leave out Caddo Parish.
so what, where do we go from here? How do we follow up with all of these people? What, we did all of this and all this work, and kudos to you for putting all this together. How can we move with this information and continue to build on the CTE type system for these schools and districts and all of that?
Well, I would offer my comments and then I would point to the superintendent for his. From my comments, I would just share that, the original intent for the Bessie stop was twofold. It was number one, to raise awareness of the initiative, to recognize the value in communities throughout the state. And the second was to bring some examples. So we don't want to just create the policy and, wish people good luck. We work diligently to bring examples from multinational corporations as well as nonprofits to share examples of their high school internship programs that have been in place for 4 or more years. So feel like we've accomplished that with the exception of our last stop. I think there's probably some consideration about, do we want to have another tour for the next school year to follow up? I think that's something the board should consider. And then obviously we're going to provide the governor with some feedback, which I'm sure he'll share across the state as well. And then I would look to Superintendent Brumley for any additional comments he'd like to add.
I mean, briefly, Mr. Burton, our team led by Dr. Singleton, we have individuals out in the field routinely working with school systems and or business and industry to try to cultivate those partnerships and or just increase the level of understanding around the expectations. I mean, I know even this week, our team is out in the field having some of these conversations in local communities or with some of the school system groups. So we will continue to do that over the course of the summer and throughout next year.
Ms. Champagne?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I think it was awesome. I think with us getting out and meeting the people and going out and letting people know what we do here and how we go about it and asking for their input was invaluable for all of us. Very valuable, I mean. And I would like to see us continue this in the next school year, because even though we had great, tremendous attendance, there were some that we know we missed for whatever reason. So I would like to see us continue this, and the possibility of maybe putting it for further discussion or to see what the members of the board and the superintendent have to say on our retreat. Maybe look at it at that point. But I look forward to going into Ms. Mellerin's district in Caddo.
Here we go. We should be bringing all those learnings to Caddo, right? Thank you for that. Any other comments, members, about the Bessie tour? All right. Hearing none. Next item, please.
Next item is item 8.2, consideration of a discussion regarding the Bessie retreat.
Thank you. Can I get a motion, please? Mr. Harris, Mr. Hollis? Is there any comment on the retreat? Maybe we've got 4 comment cards here. Let's go ahead and kick off the public comment and we can come back to members' comment. So yeah, so I was just reminded that this opportunity for public comment is specific to item 8.2. So we certainly welcome public comment, but by rule, it's got to be tied to the agenda item. So the particular agenda item here is the Bessie tour. I'm sorry, the Bessie retreat, which is calendared for August. So if you do have comments relative to the Bessie retreat, something that you think you might offer as an agenda item for the retreat, then we welcome your comments to that specific agenda item. So if that's the case, I've got Ben Kapak. Did I get that right, Ben? Dubrock. Oh, Dubrock. Okay, please step forward. And also Samantha Dubrock, is that right? If you'd like to come forward. Okay, please have a seat and identify yourself and share your comments with us.
Thank you, Dr. Morris.
Not yet, I got one more year.
Thank you, Mr. Morris. My name is Ben Dubrock, and I really appreciate y'all taking the time to talk to me. I'd hope at y'all's retreat, y'all would consider the state of French immersion in Louisiana. I'm a Dubrock from Avoyelles Parish, and Rapides as well.
Parlez-vous français?
And Tibrin, oui. Et
Ben
mon
oui.
père a parlé le français.
Ah oui, très bien.
My daddy spoke French, and I know, Mr. Harris, you've got Monroe, but you also got Marksville. So you got a lot of outlaws to take care of. So we trying our best not to make it too bad for you, all right?
De temps en temps, c'est très important si on peut parler français, n'est-ce pas?
C'est vrai, mais c'est pas juste pour l'héritage. Et c'est des choses que tout le monde tout le monde dans l'été partage.
S'il vous plaît, en anglais.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, don't talk to me in French. I don't respond in French.
Je comprends.
Yeah, my daddy spoke French. He had a pharmacy in Marksville on Highway 1. It was easier for him to speak French because his parents spoke French. People would come in and they want to talk about the mal au ventre, right? I had one guy come in once. He said, "Oh, man, Mr. Mark, I just got back from the doctor and it's about my prospects and God, it's not malicious." So it was better for him to talk in French because sometimes the English didn't quite translate. Right now, I live in New Orleans because they have a French immersion program. I moved down there about 13 years ago because my wife and I, we wanted to raise our kids speaking French. My wife's grandfather spoke French, and on both sides of my family was French speaking. Right now, our school, Lycée Français de la Nouvelle-Orléans, we've lost our immersion status. The board that runs the school didn't effectively renew it. In fact, there's been a lot of things going on that we as parents there haven't appreciated, from the way teachers are often disrespected. They fired an entire English department with a 2-week notice, for example, to the way that the mission of French isn't front and center. I think a lot of it is sometimes you get people who aren't attached to Louisiana. Every one of y'all has at least one South Louisiana parish in your district, so y'all know. For me, it's not just a question of my heritage. I think it's everybody's heritage. Right now, in the country we live in, there's a lot of culture wars. It's very easy to get torn apart, but at least in Louisiana, we can all fall back on Zydeco and on crawfish bowls and on our French, right? If you're a Catholic or Protestant, if you're black or you're white, if you're Anglo or Creole, doesn't even matter if you're in Monroe or Bastrop, you're probably at least 3 generations removed from French. And when we have people coming from out of state, take over our French immersion schools, they're going to treat it like a brand. And they're not going to treat it like the heritage that we are all entitled to. And one of the few things that we can have in common and enjoy in common together in this increasingly polarized age. So I really want y'all to consider how especially certain charter schools are treating French immersion, especially Lycée Français de la Nouvelle-Orléans. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. I think you raised a valid point. We routinely are requested to approve waivers because we've got a shortage of foreign language teachers in our state, and we need to address that concern. So thank you for bringing your concern forward.
Thank
you. All right. Thank you. I've also got a card for Daniela.
You did it together.
We did it together.
Yeah.
Did my wife get to say,
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have additional comments as well? You got 3 minutes if you want it. Oh, please. Oh, please, please, please. I'm sorry. You waved at me and I thought you were good. There you go.
Hello, my name is Samantha Sapok, but that was my husband who just spoke. I am a parent of Lycée, and I first want to thank the tireless effort of the French-speaking population of Louisiana for working tirelessly to create what I hope will become Louisiana's flagship immersion school. And flagship educational institutions. We chose Lycée Français because of its French immersion program. To create a clear line of language and culture between my son's grandfather, his great-grandfather, both native Louisiana French speakers, his father, a Semi speaker, and him. Language is culture, and language in the home isn't enough. In order for Louisiana French to survive, the most powerful tool we have is for it to be spoken in our schools, so that it is not just the language of the home, but the language of economics and the language of learning, that we are developing learning not just in English, but in French. A lot of our historical records, our historical documents, a lot of what Louisiana is in French. Investing in our students from an early age in language immersion is a step forward in creating students who can lead Louisiana's future. That is why I hope members of the board would take a moment to speak with us and discuss a concerning trend in Lycée Français to de-emphasize French immersion in this school. So I hope that the members of the board will take a moment to discuss with us so that you can discuss in the retreat immersion in Lycée Français. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that forward. Mr. Harris.
Thank you. And thank y'all for coming down. It's extremely important we do the French heritage, especially I must say that of all parish was the funnest parish to campaign in several times that I've done it. And my wife's grandmother, great-grandmother, could not speak a word of English. Unfortunately, back then, they wouldn't allow her to speak French in the home. And we've gotten past that. All that great heritage was a few years put behind us. And so hopefully we will take this up at our retreat, and it will be at the forefront of our discussions as we go forward. But thank y'all for coming.
Thank you, Mr.
I look
Harris.
forward to seeing all those Dubrocks down there, Marksville, Fifth Ward, and South Rapides.
Please come to our boucherie.
Good seeing y'all.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next I've got, Daniela. Help me with the last name, Danielle. Santoro? Sure, please do. While she's passing that out, if you would just have a seat and identify yourself for the record.
Yes. Good morning. My name is Daniela Santoro. I'm also a parent of a rising first grader at Lycée Francais. I also just want to add, since there was discussion of French heritage.
I think they're having some trouble here, and if you could pull a little closer, make
Yes.
sure the green light's on.
Okay. I wanted to add real quick to the discussion of French heritage. I'm originally from New York, but my grandmother is a survivor of the Holocaust, and she was originally from Belgium, and I grew up around French, but of course did not grow up speaking it. And so I've also brought my daughter to Lycée Francais, not directly from a Louisiana connection, but from another connection to French. And Louisiana has offered this unique opportunity to my family to attend a school that otherwise, if I was in New York, we would be unable to attend. So it's a very special opportunity. And I know that Bessie is committed to school choice for families throughout the state. And many families like my own have chosen Lycée specifically for its unique stated commitment to French language immersion and to enter this community dedicated to bilingualism, multiculturalism, and excellence. I've spent much of the last year working to organize and advocate with other parents who are concerned about Lycée's future. We have come here to appeal to the Bessie board to intervene in response to a crisis as a result of the failures of the Lycée administration. And those details are outlined in the literature that was passed out to you, and which I was part of creating this data, researching, collecting information from parents, et cetera. This crisis is also amplified by an ineffective board of directors that refuses time and again to listen to parents' concerns. Many parents, like myself, feel that we have been duped. We started this school year, for instance, being told one thing about
I'd
French
like to
language
ask you to
policy. Sorry.
please stick to the agenda item. You know, the board can work the issue.
So this is, if you will, just humor me for 20 seconds about how we got to this point of the crisis and what I hope that you will attend and pay attention to at the retreat and discuss at
Okay.
the retreat.
Please make it brief.
Is that while we recognize that there are many choices for families throughout the state, we chose Lycée and then we were given something else.
Okay.
And this includes instability of teachers and staff at the school and other activities that were taken away from our children, like recess and other things for children to thrive. And the administration is increasingly hostile to parents and teachers. The latest example, Dr. McLaurin personally retaliated against
Yeah,
my family.
I really don't want to get into the weeds
That-
on all the details, if you don't mind.
It's in the report.
Right.
I am saddened to see the flood of people leaving Lycée. Dozens of families have already pulled their children after trying to communicate their concerns and being ignored or lied to. And again, I have appealed to the board about personal things, about other parents' issues, and they have not responded to us and have not listened to our concerns. And that is why
Superintendent Brumley is offering a dedicated member of his staff to meet with you right after this. And you can share with that individual, you know, who's much more confident on this topic than I am or any of our board members are. But the superintendent will help you with the subject matter expert so that he can better prepare us, you know, if the board chooses to put this on the August retreat agenda.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. We got one more public comment card. That's from Holly Marth. Is Holly with us? Holly, please identify yourself for the record, and I would also ask you, you know, please keep it specific to the agenda item, and if we want to talk about details, and Superintendent Brumley can help us with a subject matter expert.
Okay, I believe it's on subject.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make it quick.
Okay.
My name is Holly Christine Martin. I have a third grader at Lycée.
Mm.
And we found out after the one app closed that they switched the immersion from full French immersion to mixed language. We've not been able to be heard by the board, by the superintendent. I came all the way to Baton Rouge as hopefully to get the opportunity to be heard. And to get your help, to tell us what we can do. We can't keep up with the mass moves that they make.
Right.
Mr.
Go ahead, Superintendent, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I was just gonna suggest, like, we have some ongoing conversations around, this particular institution right now. What I would, offer to you all is immediately following this meeting, if you could meet with Matt Johnson on our team. Matt, raise your hand. Matt will be happy to, right after this meeting, hear what you all have driven to Baton Rouge to share. Because it may be important for the ongoing conversation that we are having around this particular institution. But your voices are certainly already being heard, but we're happy to hear more about this today, and then I can certainly inform the board beyond today.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. And again, we want to extend our sincere appreciation to you guys for your passion for the topic, your passion for the children and the culture and the future of Louisiana. So appreciate the superintendent and offering support to respond. And the board will certainly consider it. It seems like there's a lot of interest on the board to consider this item for August retreat, to address it holistically across the state. So thank you again for coming to Baton Rouge today.
May I close with, people have been working even before us. And while we're going very slowly, crossing all the Ts and dotting all the Is, things are continuing to happen. Things are continuing to happen. And if we don't stop it at this point, I don't think that it will be able to be changed. For example, the curriculum being reinstated for the next school year. One more year and nobody will be able to. make
Right.
that.
But I think by, the effort you've made today to bring it to Bessie to this level, and the attention that you garnered from the board and the superintendent, I think you can be assured there's going to be follow-up. And it is, as Mr. Harris mentioned, it is a high priority. So I think you could expect some action.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mhm. Next item, please. We have another public comment card. Okay, I'm sorry. Board members, comments on the retreat. Who'd like to go first? Any other thoughts? Ms. Champagne?
Yes, sir. I've made one request already about a future tour, continuing that tour to make sure we can reach out to the entire state if we missed anyone, as well as testing. Testing is a big thing coming up in our state. And so I would like to put on the agenda that we talk about the testing. We know LEAP is expiring in 2026. So if you don't mind, I'd like to discuss testing.
Thank you for that feedback, Ms. Champagne. Dr. Armstrong?
I want to piggyback on the tours. So as we're looking at the tours, some general scheduling, how we can cluster them together. So when we're making the circuit across the state, as well as our Bessie meetings, that we hold them at certain weeks of the month, days of the month, et cetera. So I think some scheduling issues for the retreat.
Great, another good item, Anything else from this side of the dais? Mr. Birkin, you're awful quiet. Mr. Harris has already shared that his stop was the most fun, and I didn't hear anything from you, so I just thought to give you an opportunity.
So I brought it up just, we had such an impactful, I believe, first year. In our second year, we're doing good things too. What's next? What's our goal? Where do we go from here? How do we continue the testing, and all of that is important, but how do we reach that next level?
Great goals, path forward. I'm sure Superintendent Bromley has some thoughts there. On this side of the dais, anything, Ms. Holloway, Mr. Hollis, Mr. Harris, Ms. Mellerin? Everybody's thumbs up? All right. And then obviously the meeting is not till mid-August, so there's still ample time. If something comes up and you'd like to add, then obviously contact Mr. Walker and we can get that discussion going. Mr. Birkin?
One other thing, just to permanently add the June Bessie meeting as Seersucker Suit Day.
June Bessie meeting will historically be remembered as Seersucker Suit Day. Got that. Got that.
And we need to take up a collection for Mr. Hollis to be able to buy one.
Okay. Got that on the public record. Thank you, Mr. Harris. All right, hearing no other comments, I think we're adjourned. Thank you.
We have to take a picture with the suits down in front.
Yeah, group picture. All are invited, including Mr. Hollis.